All right, so to work on the 1 through, I'm going to do 1 through 4 on the now you try. We're going to take the 5, multiply it by the 4, write this as x squared minus 19x minus 20. That would factor into, I need a positive and a negative. For 20, it has to add to negative 19. I'm going to put negative 20 and positive 1. And then I'm going to finish by dividing by my a value. I need to simplify my fractions. Oh, well, yeah, this is going to simplify to 5. So that's just going to be x minus 5. And then I'm going to bring my 4 out as the coefficient of x. 4x plus 1. For number 2, I'm going to take my 2, multiply it by my 6, k squared plus 7k plus 12. Now I'm going to factor 12. This is going to be a plus plus, k plus 3, k plus 4. Recognizing these factors when a is 1 is something that you should be better at this point. And then I need to divide by the a value of 6. And before I move on, I need to reduce my fractions. This will be 1/2. This will be 2/3. And once my fractions are reduced, I bring that denominator over as the coefficient of k, 2k plus 1, 3k plus 2. Number 3, multiply my 3 by my 8, y squared minus 10y minus 24. I'm going to get, I need a positive and a negative in order to have two negative signs. So y plus and y minus. And I think I need to use my 12 times 2. I sure do. Negative 12, positive 2. There you go, Cassie. That's probably right where you snagged that one too. And then I'm going to divide by my a. Divide by a. Divide by a. It was 8. I'm going to reduce those fractions. That 2/8 becomes 1/4. The 12/8 becomes 3/2. Yeah. I'm going to bring that 4 up as the coefficient of y, 4y plus 1, and 2y minus 3. Tommy wanted me to go on to number 4 on the back. Go ahead, Leah.
Couldn't you have used negative 8 and negative 3?
It would have given me a positive 24 if I used negative 8 and negative 3. And they would have added to 11. I know, it's the factoring piece. Number 4. Take my 10, multiply it by 3. I'm factoring w squared minus w minus 30. I think I'm going to need, right here, I'm going to need a 5 and a 6. I'm going to need a 5 and a 6 to get 30 because that's how I'll have a difference of 1. And it's going to have to be a minus and a plus. I want my 6 to be the negative and my 5 to be the positive. I'm going to go back and divide by my a. And I'm going to reduce, well, I'm going to reduce this as I write my answer. W minus 2. If it comes out to be an integer, I don't have to worry about having it as the coefficient of w. And then this would be 3w plus 5. Now, the only way this changes is if we can factor out a greatest common factor. I'm going to move down here to number 10 in the multi-step factoring group, and we'll practice a couple of these together. So with the multi-step factoring, the first thing that I want to do is look at all these coefficients a, b, and c. There's got to be a greatest common factor, at least 2, because they're even numbers. If I factored out 2, I'd get 10, 26, and 12. I'm thinking maybe 4 might be the greatest common factor. Let me see. 20 divided by 4 would leave me with 5. I think that's going to be it. 5n squared minus 13n. There you go. Minus 6. Yeah. Now, the only thing that we have to do differently here is just not forget that in the end, and I'm going to actually write this down here, when I use my slip, slide, divide method, I just don't want to forget that this 4 has to be outside of the product of my two binomials. So just dropping that down there to not forget that this 4 needs to be a part of this after I perform my slip, slide, divide. So I'm going to go and multiply 6 by my 5, turn this into n squared minus 13n minus 30. Now I need a negative and a positive, n minus, n plus, because I have to wind up with a negative 30. And I wanted it to be 10 and 3 because 10 and 3 add to 13, but that's not how this is going to work because of the plus minus. It's actually going to have to be 15 times 2 because negative 15 and 2 is going to give me that 13. And I'm still not forgetting about my 4. I've got it all the way down here. You know, some might argue we should be putting that 4 right here. We should. Just don't forget it. Now I have to go into my 15 and 2 and divide them by that a that I slipped around, which was 5. And in the case of the n minus 15 over 5, that's going to give me n minus 3. And in the case of the n plus 2 over 5, that doesn't reduce, so that's going to be 5n plus 2. Let me try one more of these. Which one do you guys want? Pick a number.
12.
Great. 12. Put a circle around this one. Looking for a greatest common factor. It's got to be 2, right? 2, 6x plus x minus 1. I don't want to forget about this 2 down the road. 2. Watch me just set it up all the way down. 2. You know, I'm just going to have to, I know I'm going to have to keep simplifying. 2, I wound up doing it 3 times to get there. There we go. Don't want to forget the 2. I'm going to take my 1, multiply it by 6. Oh shoot, I shouldn't have this in here. Nuts. Screwed that up. This should just be my trinomial. X squared plus x minus 6. X squared plus x minus 6. Sorry about that. X squared plus x minus 6. There we go. Now, how am I going to get negative 6 as a product that adds to 1? I've got to have a positive and a negative. Positive 3, negative 2. I come in and grab that 6, 6, 6. The a value that I multiplied 1 by. 1 times 6 got me here. And now I got to go back and deal with it. This is going to reduce to a third. This is going to reduce to a half. This is going to turn out to be 3x minus 1 and 2x plus 1. Crazy.